Good afternoon, Cross Timbers. Today is April 16th, 2014. This is the Texan TV news from Tarleton State University campus in Stephenville, Texas, and I am Maegan Bailey. In today's headlines, Tarleton students prepare for LJT, Dublin passes sex offender ordinance, Syrian terrorist training to attack American interests, 6 infants were found dead in a Utah woman's home, cleanup for the Chilean city destroyed by fire starts, an indoor skydiving facility allows a little boy to fly like Iron Man. Now, to our top story. In campus news, Tarleton students gear up for the 26th annual Larry Joe Taylor Fest that will take place April 21st through April 26th. LJT, as the locals call it, is a Texas country music festival held on the fairgrounds outside of city limits. Over the duration of a week, students go watch many artists perform. This year, the lineup includes artists like Cody Johnson, Wade Bowen, the Eli Young Band, Stoney LaRue, the Casey Donahue Band, and of course, Larry Joe Taylor himself, along with other Texas country artists. Students buy tickets ranging from $22 for a one-day ticket to $89 for a 5-day ticket. Parking costs an additional $9 to $28. Campsites are also available for anyone who doesn't want to drive home that week. Tarleton students offer free rides to and from LJT so that the roads and people stay as safe as possible on their way home. For a free van ride at LJT, students can call 254-965-4179. All of the 5-day tickets are sold out, leaving students to choose between 1, 2, 3, or 4-day passes. Students can buy their ticket in advance at LarryJoeTaylor.com, Barefoot Athletics across the street from the Tarleton Welcome Center, or at the gate the day of the concert. In local news, the Empire-Tribune reported that on Monday, the Dublin City Police Chief Sean Fullager and City Administrator Nancy Wooldridge presented the City Council with Dublin's first sex offender ordinance. Fullager said when he discovered the city was without a sex offender ordinance, he began researching other cities with sex offender ordinances and drew up an ordinance similar to Stephenville's. It restricts a sex offender's ability to live or own property within 500 feet of a school, public park, daycare center, or any other place where children gather. The ordinance does not require sex offenders already living or owning those properties within those limitations to sell the property or move. Fullager said of the 9 to 11 sex offenders living within the Dublin city limits, none are currently living within 500 feet of those locations. Fullager assured the council members the ordinance would not limit those parents from attending their children's events. He did say at the events, any offender there to support their child cannot make contact with other minors. The maximum consequence for a city violation is a citation for $500, but if the subject warrants contact from an officer in these situations, it could escalate to something more. And now for today's state, national, international, and sports news from the Associated Press. In state news, U.S. Senator Marco Rubio warned Tuesday that terrorist training in ungoverned swaths of Syria could soon attack American interests around the world or even on the nation's home soil. The Tea Party favorite and possible 2016 presidential hopeful gave a foreign policy speech sponsored by various groups at the University of Texas. That meant heading onto the home turf of 2 other potential future White House contenders, Texas Governor Rick Perry and Rubio's Senate colleague and fellow grassroots conservative champion Ted Cruz. Rubio said that there are vast, ungoverned spaces that have opened up in Syria where the government doesn't control the territory, and it has increasingly become the premier operational space for radical jihadists to train and operate. He predicts that if things continue the way they are, soon we will see attacks staged against interests and perhaps even our homeland soil from those ungoverned spaces in Syria. He also told the crowd that diplomatic efforts should be used far more than military efforts. He also described Russian President Vladimir Putin as deliberately weakening the global stature of the United States to build up Russia, adding that it is time for America to potentially begin to prepare Ukraine for its own defense by providing the training and weapons. And Rubio called the leaks from former U.S. National Security Agency contractor Edward Snowden the single most damaging revelation of American secrets in our history. Rubio seemed more enthusiastic about the idea of remaining in the Senate than answering questions about the possible run for the White House. He told reporters that he will eventually have to make a decision one way or another, but he wouldn't be deciding today. In national news, 6 infants were found dead in a Utah woman's home. The Associated Press has the details.
As police in Utah investigate the discovery of 6 murdered infants, neighbors in this community wonder how a woman they knew so well could keep a secret so big.
Just to think that all this went on when none of us had a clue that anything could even be like this, that's what's scary to me.
The grisly discovery was made Saturday morning inside this house. 6 dead infants found inside boxes. Police say 39-year-old Maegan Huntsman told investigators she gave birth to all of them over a 10-year period, suffocated them, and stored them in the garage.
All of the infants were found packaged in plastic bags and cardboard boxes, and they were placed on shelves or in cabinets.
All of the babies were born between 1996 and 2006. People who knew Huntsman wonder how she could maintain what looked like a normal life.
They were great. You know, everybody was friendly, nice, and especially the girls. And Darren, Megan's quiet. And I think of all the women that would love to have babies and can't. That's what's really hard.
Huntsman was arrested Sunday on 6 counts of murder. She's being held on $6 million bond, $1 million for each child she's accused of killing. Robert Bumstead, Associated Press.
The Associated Press is also reporting that Huntsman's estranged husband, Darren West, found the infants while cleaning out the garage of his parents' home, where Huntsman lives with her other 3 daughters. Huntsman's youngest daughter, who is now in junior high, was born in the decade of the 6 other killings. Huntsman reportedly told police that she had given birth to at least 7 babies in the 10-year period. 6 were born alive and 1 already dead. Although West and Huntsman were together while the infants were born and murdered, investigators don't believe he was aware of the killings. The Huntsman's home was visited by the Drug Enforcement Administration in 2005, where West pled guilty in federal court to 2 counts of possessing chemicals intended for the use and the manufacturing of methamphetamine. It is unknown how extensive their search was. Utah is one of the states that safe haven laws are in effect that allow women to drop off unwanted newborns to authorities with no questions asked. The mother can remain anonymous as long as the child has not been subject to abuse or neglect. In international news, Monday, to help clear debris after fires destroyed around 2,000 homes in the Chilean city, armed with spades, gloves, and masks, local residents, along with volunteers, started to clear the charred wreckage of the homes on one of the hills affected by the wildfires, which started on Saturday and have killed 12 people so far. The fires were so hot that they created their own fierce winds, consumed entire neighborhoods in some places. All that remained of many dwellings on the Cerro Lamaditas was twisted metal and rocks. Thousands of people have been evacuated as a result of the fires, and authorities on Monday prepared to evacuate hundreds more who would be in danger if the winds turn again. Chile's Forest Agency predicted on Monday that the fires won't be fully extinguished for another 20 days. In sports news, popular indoor skydiving has proven to be much more than an athletic training facility. It gave one little boy the chance to fly like Iron Man.
8-year-old Max Verton of Hastings, Nebraska is taking a family trip he'll never forget. A visit to an indoor skydiving facility thanks to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Max and his 2 brothers have a rare genetic disease that weakens the muscles and is often fatal during the teenage years when it attacks the heart and respiratory system.
They told us when he was first diagnosed he'd be in a wheelchair by 9, but he's 8 now and he's still walking, although we are getting measurements for his first wheelchair, so we're getting there.
Tuesday, his experience as Iron Man brought his mother to tears.
I have him here. I have him every day, and we laugh and we play and we have so much fun.
After flying like a superhero, Max was cheered as he and his family boarded a limousine. Before they left, Max waved to his adoring fans. Ned Barker, Associated Press.
Today you can expect winds with a high of 72 and a low of 50, according to Yahoo Weather. Today's broadcast was produced by Cassidy Horn, Alyssa Urbanic, and Katie Gibbs. Don't forget to tell your friends about us and become a fan of Texan TV News on Facebook. I am Maegan Bailey. Tune in tomorrow for the latest news from the Tarleton State University campus in Stephenville, Texas.